Tofino. I have, for a very long time, wanted to ride my motorcycle to British Columbia. When I was 16, my cousin rode in from Edmonton and a marathon ride showed up on my mom and dad's porch. And to me, on my little CM250, he was pretty cool having done that. I watched a movie called 1 Week where a terminally ill guy rode a Norton across Canada to Tofino, which was probably the first time I'd ever heard of Tofino at that time. I also read Neil Peart's book Ghost Rider, where he rode across Canada as well as north, trying to deal with the loss of his wife and his daughter. Having had the opportunity an awesome opportunity to live in Whistler during the 2010 games, we visited Tofino firsthand while we were out there, and the beauty of it, the drive out, the trees, it's just spectacular, which really started to solidify, my dream of doing this someday. So I left my job in February and I got time and I'm trying to figure out what's next. So I figured this is the right opportunity. So in a few days, I'll hop on my bike and start my trip west. So I'm not much of a vlogger, and I'm really doing this for a couple of reasons. The video, I mean, is it's basically for me to create a memory of what I'm about to try to do, as well as to share with folks my experience. So I'm going to try to do a video for every day. I don't have any action cameras or any of that, so it's just going to be me and my iPhone and some pictures, and I'll just have a quick rundown of how my day went, how far I went, and things of interest along the way. It's a little over 10,000 kilometer round trip. I expect to be on the road probably for the greater part of 26, 27, maybe 28 days. And I'm kind of breaking this trip into sort of three kind of categories, and I'm really fortunate because I think if I had to do it all in one trip out, trip back, I'm not sure I could do it. I'm still not sure I can do this to begin with, but my wife has agreed to graciously meet me in Vancouver. So the three sections are my trip west, my trip while out west on Vancouver Island, and my trip home. So for my trip west, I am going to be taking Highway 11 through Northern Ontario, which for me is a bit of a highlight. I've never taken that highway. I've heard there's not much up there, but I never like to travel the same roads twice if I can avoid it. And having never been up there, so once I hit North Bay and I hang a right, I'll be on roads I've never been on before. So I'm looking forward to that stretch. I originally was going to try for Edmonton in 4 days, but I've decided to add a day, and that's let me kind of shorten my days a little bit. And in Thunder Bay, I'm going to stick along the US border and travel along Highway 11 and up through Sioux Narrows, where I'll hook back up with the Trans-Canada. My stop in Edmonton will be to visit some family, including the cousin that I mentioned earlier that rode out when I was 16. And I'll spend 2 days in Edmonton visiting with them. Following that, I'll be traveling through to BC with a stop in Jasper. So not staying in Jasper, I'm just stopping for hopefully an hour or two to connect with the golf pro. My grandfather, who was a silversmith in Montreal, built a totem pole trophy. My sister has the prototype, and the real one is actually at Jasper Lodge. So I've asked if I could stop and maybe have my picture taken with it, and they have indicated that should be something they can do. So I'm hoping to do that. I'll be staying in the middle of BC on one night, and then touring into Whistler from the north, and that's where I get to meet Devin. So she'll be flying into Vancouver. She's visiting a high school friend, and then she's driving up to Vancouver in a rental, and we'll connect there and spend an evening in the place that we used to live. So that's looking forward to that. And I really kind of qualify that or quantify that as my trip west. So looking forward to that part. So for the trip on Vancouver Island. So Dev and I will leave Whistler, drive down to Vancouver. She'll get rid of her rental car. And I have a storage locker rented where I can dump all my camping gear. And yeah, so we'll hook up and we'll both jump on the bike, head to Tawasin, catch the Tawasin ferry across to Victoria. We got 2 days in Victoria where we hope to connect with one of my cousin's daughters who's in the Navy, maybe get a tour of some of our Navy ships. We'll be able to visit Victoria. Devin's never been there before, so that'll be great. From there, we take a ride north towards Tofino, where we have a resort booked not that far from the village of Tofino. We'll spend 2 evenings there. And then from there, we are riding over to Comox, where we'll hopefully connect with some more cousins for a quick visit. And then back to Vancouver, where Dev gets on the plane to come home, and I begin my my trip east. My trip east. So as I sit here in my gazebo in my backyard, all comfy, this is probably the part of the trip I have not done much review or prep for. I plan on touring the southern part of BC, about a little over halfway to the Alberta border, where I will drop into the US, into likely Washington State. My goal is to head for Mount Rushmore and be able to take just to see it, to take a picture of it, and then make for home. Along the way, I think if I'm not mistaken, the route takes me past Custer's Last Stand. There's a monument there. I'll take a quick stop there, and I also plan on hopefully an evening staying one of the nights in Sturgis. So Sturgis is a location for a massive bike rally. The rally is not on that weekend or that time that I'm there, but it's just to say, hey, I've been to Sturgis. So after Sturgis and Mount Rushmore, basically after that, it's okay, I'm making a break for home. I don't know really how many kilometers a day I'll be able to put on by then, but it'll be coming home via Sault Ste. Marie, and then cross through Algonquin Park and then back to Stittsville. All told, it's 10,000 clicks, a little over probably 10,000 kilometers. And like I said, I'm leaving in early June, and I hopefully will be back before July 1st. A lot of people are saying, holy cow, those are long days. They are. I've done trips like this before, but never this long. As I mean, this many days. So I get as far as Kapuskasing and say the hell with this, I'm turning around and going home. But like I said, it's always been a dream. I'm doing it just because I'm doing it. I don't have any more explanation other than that, other than I have the time. I'm a little in the wind trying to figure out what's next, and this will give me a lot of time in my helmet, just listening to music, seeing the country, meeting people, and just taking it in. It's an adventure. We'll see how it goes.